Yeah, it's going down, man. It's Donnie Houston Podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We have a very special guest. But before we get into that, let me just make a couple of announcements, man. As you can see, we in a new set. We're doing something different today. You know what I mean? I'm tired of all y'all motherfuckers talking shit about my couch. You know what I mean? Man, you need to get a new couch. Your couch is fucked up. So, hey, man, I got a whole new set. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about the set. We probably going to switch it up again. But right now, we going to rock like this. You know what I'm saying? Also, shout out to everybody I be bumping into. I done been out a couple times. I ran into somebody the other day. He was like, man, I watched the podcast. I'm learning so much about Houston and the history. I feel like I'm a Houstonian. I said, oh, that's pretty dope. And he was like, man, that's what you should call the people who follow the podcast. Like Rihanna got the Navy and Beyonce got the Beehive. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but hey, man, all my Houstonians, man, shout out. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Listen, we keep on subscribing if you're not watching. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Before we go any further, turn your alerts on. You know what I'm saying? We almost at 10K. I appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. And when we get to 10K, I'm going to do a call-in episode. We'll go live on YouTube. I give a number. I have everybody call in, holler at me, say whatever you want to say, shout-outs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So look forward to that. Also, hit the website, DonnieHoustonWorld.com. Grab some merch. You know what I mean? And, hey, man. Keep on rocking with me, man. I appreciate y'all. But check it out. Like I said, we got a very special guest today in the house today, man. Listen, his name has come up on a few episodes. And, you know, we talk about these legendary labels, man, and these classic albums that came out and these independent, you know, startups, man, that started right here in the H, that started from something small and, you know, made a big impact on the world, man, and definitely the city for sure, state, you know what I mean, the whole South. But today's guest is the CEO of KMJ Records. If you're wondering who KMJ Records is, if you're familiar with the Zero self-titled album, you're familiar with the Life album and, you know, some of the other releases, the Zero Tolerance, and you're familiar with Big Mello's last album, you're familiar with Cliche. Hey, man, Eugene Brooks, what's going on? How you feeling?
Man, good to be here.
Man, thanks for coming through, man.
Yes.
So did I miss everybody? I know you had, it was Big Mello, you had Zero, you had Cliche.
The Gorilla Mob album, The Resurrected.
Gorilla Mob, very important, yeah.
Tony Montana. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, so, man, what's new with you, man?
Man.
Great news today, right?
Great news today. I'm cancer-free.
Hey.
I'm a 3-time cancer survivor.
Nice.
I had a liver transplant. Then after having the liver transplant, I got diagnosed 6 months later. And they gave me 6 months to live.
Wow. What year was this?
This was, I've been 3 years. I've been 3 years clean now. So that must have been in 2017, 2018.
Wow.
Well, no, it was in 2016 because I transplanted 2015, November 13th of 2015. So now I'm coming up on 6 years of my transplant.
Man, okay, that's a blessing, man. That's a blessing. So we got great news, cancer-free.
Cancer-free, and you know, a lot of the lessons, or even how I lived through cancer, were lessons that I had learned a long time ago, and even in the music business, you know, because it wasn't an easy journey for me. It just wasn't. I got called in the first time, and it rained that night. And the Rockets were playing a playoff game against, I can't remember who. And Houston got flooded out. So they sent me home. And then about a week and a half later, I got called again. And they're pushing me in the operating room for the surgery. And the nurse coordinator came and she said, no, the surgery's off. And then 5 days later, I got kicked off the list because I had too many cancer lesions.
Man.
Right. You know, God has blessed me tremendously, and favor ain't fair. So there was a nurse there, and she came to me, and she says, don't worry. She said, I'm going to get you a liver. She said, we're going to do 2 more rounds of chemo, and then her husband, I don't want to get her in trouble. Her husband was over the imaging department, the VA. She said, we're going to do 2 more rounds of chemo. I'm going to let him scan you and let him read it. We're going to get you back on that list. And that's what happened. But the beauty of the story is this. And I'll go into a little bit of my background because a lot of people don't know about my background. So when I did get the call again, she called me. And she said, well, we got a liver for you. She said, the only problem is a high-risk liver. So I said, well, do you check out the liver? She does. She said, yeah, we check it out. She said, but it comes out of a penitentiary. And I just had to laugh. I said, well, that's the one for me. Because, listen, it only made sense that somebody like me saved me. Not one of them good old Christians. Not nobody ain't never been through in life. Somebody like me saved me. Somebody who'd been locked up like I had been locked up. Somebody who had a lot of disappointments in life like I did. And it was only right that one of my folks saved me. And I knew that was the liver I was supposed to have. But the beauty of the story is this. That man's last act of saving my life washed away all the bad shit he had did. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And at some point in your life, when you get a little older or you know death is near, you really do want to be able to lay there with a little peace and comfort. You really do. And you know, I've written 3 books. So in one of the books, I always talk about I'm living my entire life for the last 2 minutes of my life. I want to be able to lay there in the last 2 minutes and be like, man, we gave that shit a run, nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And about me and God have a funny relationship. I cuss at him, I get mad at him. When they took me off the list, I told God, I don't fuck with you today. I'm gonna obey, but I don't fuck with you. And while I was in the music business with KMJ, right? I did all those things because I wanted to be able to, you know, rest whenever that time came. I wanted to do that. So everything I did with a purpose. Nothing was by chance. And that's why I treated, you know, those guys the way I treated them. What they did with what I offered, that's on them. And they did well. They did well. And I'm so proud of them. But, you know, you live your life with a purpose, something. And the purpose will always change. And I'll give you a good example. So, you know, Trey is a rapper.
Right.
Well, in my opinion, they need to, like, I'll see on the newspaper or whatever on TV, they'll like, Houston rapper, Trey, da-da-da-da. They need to stop doing that.
So you want to call him philanthropist?
Advocate.
Hmm.
And I'm going to make a prediction here. Trey, if you see this, I'm telling you, I would love to see Trey run for city council. You don't have to have no degrees. You ain't got to have none of that. Trey has a huge heart.
And he's a man of the people.
He's a man of, exactly. He is a man of the people. I would love to see Trey run for office. It's a brand new time now. You know what I mean? People getting away from what's politically correct and what's all that.
You got to be suit and tie, and you got to do this type of, yeah.
And listen, you know, even though Trump is fucked up, Trump still opened it up a little bit where you don't have to be that conventional politician. But watch and see. They need to stop saying Houston rapper Trey.
Yeah.
He's bigger than that. He's bigger than...
No, he's making impacts across the country for sure.
Yeah. No, Trey's bigger than rap music.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Because I mean, you know, when I met him and I started working with him, Trey gonna work hard. Trey didn't smoke. Trey didn't drink. Trey didn't... He was focused on what he was doing. And so that's just my opinion. I would love to see him, you know, get into the politics. He's a little bit older now, so he's a little calmer. You know what I mean? He just ain't gonna cuss a motherfucker out. You know, when you all grow and get a little bit older. But I would love for him. I would love to see him do something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were just kind of staying on background, man. You know, I know you have the book, the Half Black, Half White.
Yeah.
And we talk a little bit about, you know, growing up biracial in California in like the 70s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk just, I mean, how that was, man, growing up.
So, you know, I didn't really let a lot of people know my background. when I was in the music business for several reasons. But growing up biracial, and there was some male sexual abuse that I endured when I was younger, which is another subject we're gonna touch on, because that shit going on now.
Definitely, yeah.
No, it happens all the time, and especially our community, and especially in the Hispanic community, is huge. Would be males, whether it be with females, right? So off of that book, man, I did interviews with ABC News, MSNBC on a Rachel Maddow show, which is also what a lot of people don't know is, do you remember the show when Tyler Perry went on Oprah?
Yeah.
I consulted on that show. I did a lot of stuff afterwards, but so when I was 15, I'd already been kicked out of most of the high schools.
So the assault or abuse, or I don't really want to miss.
Yeah.
At what age is this happening? This is like at a younger age. Like,
this was at a younger age, like 10, maybe 9, maybe around 9 or 10 years old.
It's a family member.
Oh, it was a family member. It was my brother.
And how much older is your brother?
5 years older than me, and he's a lot bigger than me. And I told my mom, which normally happens in most families, but see, my mom, first of all, she was a white woman, and my dad black. Everybody in my house was chasing one thing, and that was love. Everybody. It was my mom's second marriage. She was chasing love. So kind of like most families, they say, well, that's just, that's dad. Don't.
So that's how it was kind of brushed under the rug.
That's how it was all brushed on the table. And even though she knew, but nobody wanted to disturb the house. And
Did you tell your dad this, or you just talked to your mom about this?
I just talked to my mom. My dad wasn't that kind of. My dad was a pimp, and my mom was a hoe.
Yeah.
Real. And so I knew what he was. My dad was about one thing and one thing only: money. That's it. That's the only thing, which is okay. He taught me a lot of good things, but it was about the money. But a lot of the values, that I got weren't given to me by him. It was another black man when I went to treatment, he taught me how to be a black man, and he taught me how, more importantly, to be a loving and caring human being. Because I always walked around my dad's philosophy. Whoever had the most money, everybody gonna motherfucking mine. You gonna mine. I will buy you out. I will do whatever the fuck I want to do to you. And that wasn't a good thing. So at 15, I was at the house and my dad said something. I was like, no. And he was like, well, nigga, you can get the fuck out.
Bet.
And I left the house when I was 15.
So I saw a picture of you, man, and you look hella young, but you had a chain on, had the little chronic leaf on there, man.
Yeah.
How early did you start getting into like weed and all that?
Oh, I started smoking when I was around 11 or 12.
How do you get weed at 11, 12 years old? Your older brother
I
as
lived
well?
in California.
Oh, Cali, yeah. That's
right. But when the first time I smoked weed, it gave me that escape. The first time I smoked weed, I was like, I have found what I've been looking for my whole life.
Was the abuse still going on by the time you were that age, or it was just
no? It ended.
Okay.
But then I was abused also too, basically by my father, just the physical and emotional abuse. Cause my dad had a body shop, a paint body shop, and we used to work when we were young, 9, 10 years old. And at that time, they didn't have those air sanders you see now, electric sanders. Everything was sanded with your hand. And we used to work until our fingers bled. Now, every Friday we go to the pizza place, we go get a 6-pack of beer. And then that's how we got paid. So when I was 11, 12 years old, I was making $200 a week. He was about that money.
Yeah.
But he believed in also, nigga, you work, that's your money. So when I left the house, I came back, not to the house, but I came back and I was still working with him. And by that time, they didn't have the GED, they had the California High School Proficiency Test. And I was always smart. So I took it, and at 15, I had my high school diploma. So I was
So
working with him during the day, and I was painting all the lowriders.
Wait. So you're 15. You're not living at home, but you're still working with your dad.
Yeah.
So where are you going for shelter and all that?
Well, I had friends, some white boys, right? And they're, white folks. They could have friends over and stay. They didn't care, But I was
6 months.
Yeah, I was shuffling out of there. But then, so I did that for about 6-7 months.
Yeah. I was just bullshitting with 6 months, but you for real. Like,
No,
yeah,
it was about 6-7 months.
Yeah.
But then I started, like, after I stopped working with my dad during the day, I was taking side jobs at night. Painting lowriders, because I was good. At a young age, I was really good. So I was taking side jobs. So when I was 16, I was making $1,500-$1,600 a week.
Damn.
Getting all the weed I wanted. Like all the meth. Because at that time,
So you got into that?
Yes, at that time I was snorting crank. We called it crank, which nowadays they call it meth. But it was I was snorting. I was heavy in the drugs. But I knew, and maybe around 70 is when all these gangs really started forming. I can remember when the first gangs like Crips were just forming, and people my age were getting into it. And see, I was shot across the side of the head when I was 16.
Wrong place, wrong time, or what happened?
Yeah, well, yeah, wrong place, wrong time. They wasn't out for me. It just happened. But all my life I've had favor. But I was painting everybody's car. I knew everybody. I knew all the niggas in the hood, all the essays, and my nickname at the time was Nudie. So I knew everybody, which
allowed you access to these things.
It allowed me access to these things, and I could go anywhere I wanted.
Yeah.
I can go on the Mexican side of town, fucking with hoes. I could go on the black side of town. I just did whatever I wanted to do because I was cool with everybody. They was coming to me to get all their cars painted. It was crazy.
So, okay, how long do you go on like this? Like, as this kid just kind of bouncing around doing,
Well, it was this white boy at this one high school. He used to sell all the weed. And it was in the morning. I was up there. I was dropping a girl off. And, he out in the parking lot selling weed. Talking about I got 3-4 pounds in my trunk. I'm like, oh, okay. As soon as the motherfuckers went to class, I got the end of a pool stick, pried with the back of his trunk, and got that weed. So he told the police that I had stole a radio, which I didn't. Now this part is important because I see niggas nowadays, they get in trouble, they go to their mamas. They had a mama mortgaging their house, trying to bail them out and trying to do that, this and that. That's whole ass shit. When I got in trouble, my mama called me, and I of course I denied it. And I told her, I said, no, because she asked me, she said, well, did you steal that radio? No, I ain't steal no radio. I stole weed.
Yeah.
I didn't tell her that. So we got off the phone. I went in the bathroom. I was like, I ain't have my mom and dad spend no money on me. I don't believe in that shit. Nigga, I did that.
That young, you was on some, yeah.
Yeah, it was a different, like I say, my daddy taught me a different level of manhood. Nigga, if you did it, raise your hand and say, yeah, I did it. I'll take the charge. And ended up calling my mom back and tell her, don't spend no money on her. I said, I didn't steal no radio, but I did break into his car. I stole something else. I said, don't spend no money. You keep your money. And ended up going down there, talking to the police. And then my dad said, well, you can go in the military. So 5 days after I turned 17, I was in the military.
Damn. Okay, this is a drastic jump, man, to go from like, shit, I'm just this kid doing whatever I want,
right.
And now I'm in the military.
I didn't want to go to jail.
So that was the
way out.
No shit. Oh, well, yeah, fuck it. Go to the military.
Yeah, I'll go to the military. Only problem is I'm 17 around all these grown-ass people, right? So I get in the military and went to basic training, got out of basic training, went to tech school, and then while I'm in tech school, I got busted. with 2 pounds of weed and 132 of those. We used to call them yellow jackets, but it was speed.
So what you doing with all this dope in the Army?
I was hustling.
Oh, no shit.
That's all I ever did. You don't understand. You don't understand. My dad was like, "You hustle."
It was instilled in you for real.
Yeah, you get your money.
Yeah.
Whoever got the most money.
So are you hustling within the Army, or this is like some outside?
Outside and inside. I was in Denver, Colorado, and I'd meet everybody off of Colfax Avenue, and that's where they buy something. I would never sell it on base. So I got busted by the OSI, Office of Special Investigation. So they sitting there talking. I used to get my shit from this brother, but I damn sure wasn't gonna tell on his brother. But there was this white girl that I knew on base. She drove an old Camaro. So I'm sitting there, and they said, "Where you get it from?" I said, "Well, you know, it's this girl in this white Camaro." And I could look in their eyes when they said that, like, ding, 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 ding. I said, "I got this motherfucker now." So they let me stay in the military, and I had to set her up, right? So they used to give me $100 a day to go hang out at they used to call it like the non-commissioned officers, like a little club. I used to play pool and get drunk every day.
No shit.
And I would just tell them, "No, I didn't see her. That lasted for about 3 or 4 months. And then finally, they just came in one morning and they were like, here go your papers. You're getting transferred to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California."
No.
Got up there and got busted again.
Wait, so what did you get caught with this time?
Huh?
What did you get caught with this time when you go to the Air Force Base?
When Vandenberg.
Yeah.
When I got Vandenberg, I just got caught with like a joint and a half. It was
Nothing major. Just,
no, but it was funny though when I got up there because my job used to be I used to load weapons on F-4s and F-15s. So when they transferred me to Vandenberg, they're like, "You ain't touching no more." They made me a plumber. They said, "You gonna be a plumber. You ain't fucking with no more weapons and shit." So I got kicked out of the military. So again, though, it's important to keep track of how much favor I've had. So I'm 17 at that time, but I always worked. Nobody was gonna ever outwork me. And so I got busted, and the commander of the base came in. He said, "You know what? I'm not gonna fuck your life up. You're 17. I'm gonna give you an honorable discharge, full benefits."
Damn. You talk about some favor for real.
Now, little did I know then when I was 17 that at the age of 57, at the age of 50, those benefits that were instilled in me with 17 would come back in my favor because when I got my liver transplant, I got it at the VA here in Houston. I don't pay for any of my medications. I didn't pay for nothing.
That's a blessing, man.
My whole life has been, when I say favor ain't fair, favor ain't fair. You know, I had no idea. So I was out the military when I was 17.
Wow. Okay, so you get out the military,
Go back home.
back on your bullshit.
Oh, back on the bullshit. But so I didn't know a lot about what my father did, right? I didn't know that he was getting stolen cars, remaking them. Since my mama was white, he put the title as my mama's name. Ain't nobody gonna question a white woman selling a car whether or not the car is stolen. That was part of their hustle. So when I got back, he stopped doing it. When I got back, there was a preacher in town who used to come pick up all my dad's like scrap metals. And he came to, he said, "Man, listen," he said, "this was one of your dad's hustles." I said, "I got this other group, the Black Porsche Club out of LA. And they convert Porsches. They convert 911s. Used to buy an old one, like a 1970. And by this time, it was like, 1983, 1984. And go steal an 83, 84 and switch that bitch over. 19, I'm riding around California with a convertible motherfucking 911. Pocket full.
Come on, man.
Got busted again. It was,
Bro, you had the worst luck. You had the best and the worst luck.
Got the best and the worst luck. But got busted again because I was up for 2 days snorting that shit, that crank. And I thought that I had put that car out. You know, after you cut it up. And I thought it put out, and it caught back on fire.
Wow.
And that's when we got busted. And the guy that
So crank is like just like some is it like a
speed.
Yeah, some shit keeps you up.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah,
a jittery
yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I got busted again, and the guys that, again, I have old school values. I'm the only one that got busted. All the rest of the folks that I was doing it with, they weren't there with me when I got busted. And the one guy who actually used to go out and steal the cars, he had already picked up 2 charges. He had been to prison twice. And at that time, they had the 3 strikes you're out. So if he got caught again, he was gonna do life in the penitentiary. So when I got busted, I took the charge all by myself. I didn't tell on nobody.
So when you get that charge, how much do they give you time, or you get to or you get to skate? You get the time on this one.
But wait, this shit is crazy. So I get the time. I got 5 years.
Damn.
They send me to Chino. So when I get to Chino, again, I mean, everybody know nudie, but just paint cars. So they put me in the paint and body shop.
Ah, shit.
Wait a minute. So I'm in the paint and body shop, and right next door to the paint and body shop is where they used to keep the dry storage, like coffee, canned goods. And coffee in the penitentiary is huge. So I had found a way where I could take out a section of the paint booth. I can crawl over to dry storage, I can steal coffee, then bring it back in. So when I used to paint a car, I get that bitch foggy. You can't even see in there. And I had all the bolts out already. So all I had to do is knock it out real quick, go in there, grab coffee, come back, hang that little panel back up. I was selling coffee while I was in prison.
Oh shit.
Then the warden, he finally figures out who I was. So he brings his old BMW in to get it painted. So, you know, of course I'm a thief. He brings in, first thing I'm gonna do is go through his car.
See what he got going on.
See what he got going on. I found a loaded 38.
No shit.
Even the guards don't have guns in prison.
So now you got the strap inside the.
Inside there. And so I started thinking, I'm like, come on, man. Come on.
Are you tempted to like, do I take this? Do I not take it?
That's what's going through my mind. Do I take it? Do I not take it? Do I leave it? At this time, I was only in there for about 5 or 6 months. And I didn't have no problems. Like I said, I knew all the brothers. I knew all the essays. They used to paint all their cars. I wasn't having no problems. It was all good for me.
Yeah.
I knew everybody. I knew all the rules. You know what the fuck to do. You know what not to do. Mind your business. Keep your head down. And go on about your business. So I find this 38. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? So next morning I went there and I told the guard, come here. I said, Warden's 38 is in the car. I said, now you're going to find my fingerprint on it because I touched it, but I left that bitch there. About an hour later, the guard came back and he was like, Brooks, go pack your shit. I thought I was getting transferred. And I'm like, fuck, I should have never even said nothing. Motherfucker walked me right on out to the administration office and said, you going home today.
What the fuck, bruh? Wait. Okay, so how long were you in at this point?
About 6 months.
You get 5 years.
I was supposed to do 5 years.
6 months in, because you decide to do the right thing,
I'm out.
you get to go home.
Favor.
Wow.
So he said, all you gotta go report. All you gotta do is when you get out, go report to your parole officer.
So they put you on a parole and you had the stipulations.
So the natural thing or the things you should do is go report to your parole officer. Nah.
You gonna go fuck off. Not nudie.
I had a friend of mine, I was out about a week, I had a friend of mine said, man, I'm going to Miami. They got good cocaine down there. Well, nigga, I'm riding with you.
So y'all drive from Cali
Down
to Miami?
And got down there. Got on that cocaine. And
This is your first time getting introduced to coke, or you was already kind of into
well,
the
you know, I mean, look, you just powder.
Yeah.
So I got down there, and during that time, in the 80s, that's when like crack was really exploding. So we end up running, what we used to call it a place where you could basically just come in, we had tables, you could sit down, smoke there, buy right there. So I'm there, my buddy, you know, he left, so I'm there by myself, and we get robbed by this Jamaican crew. Come in, get the dope, they put me on my knees, and they put a 9 to my head, and I heard it go click, 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 click. And he said, oh, fuck it. It just hit me in the back of the head. Favor ain't fair.
Damn. So you could have lost your life just going down to Miami to go do coke and fuck off.
Favor ain't fair. And then I really started smoking real heavy, and I ended up being homeless in Miami.
Okay, so wait. Y'all go to Miami. How long do y'all stay? What's the plan to stay? Y'all just going for
there
a
wasn't
week?
no plan.
Oh, we just going to Miami. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But the plan is to go to Miami.
Go to Miami.
Whatever happens after that is what happens after that.
And get some good ass coke. They got that shit down in Miami.
So y'all go down there on a coke mission, and do you get introduced to crack in Miami?
Yeah.
So how is that? Because it's always amazing to me, like, you know, by the time, like, I was born in 84, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I saw crack, like, it was still going on, but by this time, it was like known, like, there's consequences for this shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a cool thing, like, oh, this is the new thing we doing. Like, talk about that time and
So,
just how.
of course, I always smoked weed. So at that time, we used to call them primos.
Put it in there with the,
Crumble it up, put it in that weed,
Yeah.
nigga.
Yeah.
That was it. But see, also too, is I was a trick master. I loved hoes. So the more I started fucking with hoes, giving them shit to smoke, then I started hitting it. And then once I started hitting that shit, it was over. It was.
I've heard a lot of stories of guys like getting involved with it through women. Like
Yeah,
it was
that
was the tie.
Yeah, that's what happens. So ended up fucking that up, and my boy, he came back to California, and I said I ain't going back because I knew I had a warrant out for my arrest. I had been gone so long, I never reported. I ain't gonna go back to California.
Yeah, because you're on parole.
I ain't going back, and ended up ended up being homeless down in Miami. I was homeless for about 5 to 7 months.
Okay. How long are y'all in Miami before your boy goes back?
About a year.
So a year, this coke mission turns into a year in Miami.
Right. Right. It was there, and it just kept getting out of hand. But Miami at that time wasn't like the Miami y'all see today.
It's Miami Vice times, right? Like,
Yeah, and also too, like where South Beach was, it wasn't them old Jews lived down there.
People weren't hanging out. They wasn't partying.
And dope fiends lived down there. Where the Miami Arena is at now, off of Biscayne Boulevard, that's where I was homeless.
Wow.
Where the Heat's Arena is at is where I was homeless.
So okay, you go homeless, and I mean, how is that? Because I mean, not only are you homeless, you're in somewhere like not even. This ain't Sacramento.
Yeah,
this ain't San Diego. This is a whole nother. You on a whole other side of the country.
Being homeless, exactly. And I didn't tell my mom and dad. I never believed in that shit.
Are you still in contact with your folks through this whole time?
A little bit. Just a little bit. But once I became homeless, I didn't contact them. I didn't believe in. Again, I'm the same way.
You deal with it yourself.
This shit.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be calling them, crying to them, asking for me to do shit. That's never been my deal. I created this shit. I'ma live in this shit. I just don't believe in that. And I never will forget this day. I was this is the lowest point I think I've ever been in my life. So I was standing on a street corner on Biscayne Boulevard, and the Miami Herald was right there behind me. Because they had to get there. There's a causeway to go across over to Miami Beach. So I was standing there, and I realized if something happened to me today, nobody would know. There was nobody looking for me with no open arms. There was nothing. I was completely empty.
Tell me this.
I had nothing.
So are you and your friend, is he kind of like, are you getting deeper into the drugs and he's kind of like, I'm going to just go back home?
Yeah.
That's what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was getting deeper into it. I couldn't sell shit because I was going to smoke the shit up.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's that day I was completely empty. And I never had a God relationship at that time because I couldn't understand. You know, I would hear people talk about, God is good. Well, God wasn't good to me. If God was so good, then why would he let me at 10 or 11 years old when I'm innocent be abused? Don't talk to me about God. Maybe your God and what you do, but so I had an issue with God for a long time.
Tell me this too. What happens with your brother at this time? Do you just completely stop contacting him?
Yeah. I don't
So y'all never been close. That was
it.
Yeah,
And I still have not. I don't know how many years. Maybe 23, 24 years since I talked to my brother. But that wasn't on me, because I understood that he was a child. He had his issues he was going through. I can forgive that shit, but he could never get over it. You know, that shame, guilt, and remorse.
Yeah.
So fuck it. That's on you. If you can't get over it, that's your problem. But as long as I cleaned up my side of the street, and it still goes back to when I get ready to die, I don't want that. You know what? I wish I would have. Listen, Donnie, I don't have any I wish I would have. Not one. Not one. I could lay down and there's nothing I can say, you know, I wish I would have done that. I don't do that. Everything that I thought that God wanted me to do and he showed me to do, I did. Period. So at that morning when I knew I was totally empty, somebody came to me and said, man, what are you doing out here, man? You young. I was 23, 24 at the time. He said, you want to get cleaned up? And I said, yeah. My intention was not to stop getting high. I just need.
You just want to get back on your feet.
I just need a little break. You know what I mean? So I just needed a little break.
Let me just get my shit together for a little while.
Get my shit together for a minute. I'm gonna figure this shit out. Got into the goddamn detox center. You could stay there 3 or 4 days. I was there the 4th day. They called my name and said, okay, well, you got to leave today. There was a nurse there. And I think I told you about the nurse earlier, about who said, there's something special about you. I'm going to get you that liver. When day I was supposed to leave the detox center, a nurse came to me and said the same thing. You're special. I'm not going to let you leave. She said, you go in the back and you go sit your ass down and be quiet. About an hour later, she came to me and she said, a bed came available. Somebody just relapsed. And once you relapse, you get kicked out of that house for the rehab. And we got a place for you. And the place is called Bay House. And that's where I met a black man who taught me how to be a black man. His name is Ron Simpson. And he taught me everything. Between him and this other Puerto Rican guy, Samuel Gonzalez, who is dead now, they taught me. They taught me how to be a man.
Did they work in the center, or they were there as well, like you as patients?
I'm sorry?
Did they work at the center, or were they there as patients like you?
Well, one of them worked there. The other one used to be an ex-patient, but he still always came around giving, just giving back, helping. And so I told Ron, I said, Ron, listen, y'all talk about, spirituality here and God. I said, that's not my thing. And he told me, he said, Gene, I don't care what God you believe in. He said, matter of fact, let's do this. You see that doorknob? Believe in that doorknob. As long as you believe in something
greater than yourself.
Greater than yourself. And I said, I could do that, Ron. And I was there for about a month, just kind of, no, I was there for about 4 days. And, I'm still fucked up. But I was there for about 4 days. There was this group session. And I told everybody, I said, I'm going to be a lawyer. And them motherfuckers laughed at me.
Okay, where does this thought come from? Have you always had aspirations of following law or getting into law? Or did
I don't know where that fucking...
Just one day you want to be like, man, I'm going to be a lawyer.
And everybody looked at me like, nigga, you on that shit.
Here this nigga go.
Just slow down. Let's just try to keep that pipe out. That's what they told me. Let's slow down. Let's just try to keep that pipe out your mouth. Don't worry about all the rest of that shit. You talking about going to law school and you 3-4 days sober. You still got shit on you. How you going to be talking about slow down? And they laughed. But I never forgot that.
What year was this, by the way?
This was in 80... God, must have been around about 81, 82. It must have been around about 82. No, it had been a little bit later than that. It had been around about 92.
92, so in the 90s.
I was around 24, 25
yeah.
About that time. And I remember sitting up one night, because I still wasn't able to sleep. You know what I mean? Because I was
Still got everything.
you got to still everything in you, and just my clock was different. And I was, they had the 12 steps and the 12 traditions. You know, it was basically an AA program, but it was, you know, it's everything, dealt with drugs, everything. And I remember looking up at those steps and looking at the traditions, and a light went off. I looked up at them, and all of it made sense. Like that. It was a just like that click. And my eyes opened up, and I'm like, I got it. And ever since that point, then I've been on fire. But I still didn't believe, you know, like some other people believed in God. You know what I mean? He had to, you know, we had to take some baby steps. I'm like, I'm not jumping off no cliffs, not until I see the bottom, because I still don't trust you, God. And then little things happen, and I just eventually, over time, started believing God. And then I went to, I enrolled in college down there and went to college. And I was taking the bus back and forth, and the places, you know, wherever I had to go, I just took the bus. And I was working, but I was saving my money, because I still had the intention of me going to law school. So I was working. I didn't buy no car, and doing nothing like that, and I was just saving money. And there's guys now that do that. There's a young brother here in town, Pup.
Yeah, Pup. Yeah, I just had Pup on.
That's my hero.
Yeah, Pup doing his thing, man.
That's my young hero. Now, I knew Pup 20 years ago when he came and got on that Life album.
Yeah, yeah.
And he worked and worked and worked. So my best friend, he owns the Stuff Baked Potato Factory, Mike Mo.
I got Mike Mo tomorrow. He's coming through tomorrow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't tell that nigga I was coming in here tonight. That motherfucker. But Mike, yeah, that's my boy right there. I can remember when Mike had the dreams of opening up a restaurant. He didn't have no name for it then, you know, but he always did barbecue. And this is a good lesson for brothers to understand. He went and he worked for a restaurant for free. Went and told the man, said, man, listen, I just wanted to learn the business. You ain't got to pay me. Struggled. Working for free. Because he had a dream. And he chased it. And I remember he used to kind of try out potatoes, and late at nights, sometime we were doing like the UFC events and shit like that. I would go over there with him, because we were hanging out doing our thing. We was chasing women, drinking, we was having a good time. So, you know, we always helped each other. And then we did these pop-up kitchens, and then shit, you can see what he's doing now.
Yeah.
The Pup and Mike, they're the good examples of you just keep working. Work hard, save your money, struggle, man. Just struggle. And you'll get there. And so that's what I did. I mean, I worked, saved my money. I ended up getting my bachelor's degree. Ended up in law school. Even though I knew I had a warrant out.
So, but you go to law school. When you go to law school, you go back to Cali?
No. I was living in Miami. When I went to law school, I came here to Texas. Okay. Which was a shock to me.
Yeah, no connections here.
No. And I didn't care about that. You know, I'd go wherever I want to go. I didn't care. I wasn't scared or nothing like that. But it was a shock to me coming down here and see the different mentality of folks. You gotta remember, I'm from the West Coast. Yeah. Niggas out there wasn't having it like they having it. Here. They just not. It was a different. They different out there. The best example I can tell you about them being different is this. When do you think ever a gang member here in Houston go have a burial service where the Rockets play?
Yeah.
When?
Yeah,
shit ain't gonna happen.
It ain't happening. Yeah.
Where Nipsey get buried at?
Yeah, at the Lakers spot. Yeah.
Motherfuckers out there, they have a lot of different respect. They understand that these streets is controlled by them. You want to calm these streets down? That's
cater to them.
There you go. Yeah. And they go to them with respect, and they, you know what I mean? It's just different. And they don't have the white folks out there acting up. like they have down here in Texas and Louisiana and Alabama and here in the South. Like this, all this shit with Trump doing. You don't see that shit in New York, LA, Chicago. They ain't having it.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a different mentality when I came here to go to Texas.
What year did you land in Texas?
Ooh,
There's got to be like 96, 7, somewhere in there.
No, maybe around 90. Yeah, maybe around 95, 96, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
Rockets won championship, everything, all that is going down.
Yeah. All that was going down. Yeah. And I still had my warrant out. And I don't know if I said it on air, which
no, we was off air talking about it, but yeah, this is a great story though.
So it was like the second day I'm there, and when you go to law school, you have to get fingerprinted.
Wait, so you come to Texas? You come to Houston, or you just come to?
No, I came to Houston. I had got accepted to law school. I had
Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah, Thurgood Marshall. I had found the apartments that were right next to it. I had a plan.
How tough is it on the addiction side at this time? Because I mean,
on the what side?
On the addiction side, like how is it trying to maneuver through this? Because it's like, yeah, you had this whole thing with crack and crank and all that.
Once that night, I'll tell you about that night that it clicked.
That was it.
I was on a mission, man. I was on a mission.
So you were never tempted or nothing like that. You just
I was on a mission.
Focus.
Because one thing that Ron told me also to his brother, he said, this is your last chance.
Kept that in mind.
Look at all the favor that I got all my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I believed him. I was like, you right. God has saved me too many times. And I knew that's it. If I don't get, ain't gonna be too much more favor if I don't get my shit right. So I believed him. And I believed, everything that he had said. I bought into what he was selling. Motherfuckers from Philly. Smooth as fuck. It wasn't until later, like maybe 10 or 15 years later, I was like, that motherfucker was lying to me.
Game me down.
But that motherfucker was so slick. He was from Philadelphia, Warrior shit. Did it woo, 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 woo. But he had me.
Yeah.
And that's what he used to do. He used to sell dreams. And for people that lost the ability to dream,
that's what you need.
You need somebody to sell you a dream.
Yeah.
And especially when you start seeing these things happen, then you're like, yeah. So somebody helped me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I knew that at some point, at some time, I was going to have a chance to give back. And so I got in law school. I'm standing in line at law school, and they wanted to fingerprint us for our intent to study law. And I got by the bathroom. I just ducked in the bathroom and stayed in there for 5-6 hours. I said, you ain't going to fingerprint me. Because, I always believed that I'm not going to tell on myself. You got to catch me.
Yeah. I feel that I ain't giving up shit.
I'm not going to do that. That ain't what men do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there is nothing wrong. I didn't know the phrase for it until John Lewis died. And then I understood about good trouble. Then it made sense. It's like, all I was doing was good trouble. I wasn't hurting nobody. I was just trying to get an education. And I was determined not to let anybody stop me. If you catch me, fuck it, you catch me. What you gonna do, kick me out? Even though I did have that felony warrant was still hanging out there. But I was in law school, went through my whole first year law school, and then I wasn't until my second year law school where, I had a chance to take care of it. And by this time, me and God, our relationship had progressed. And that intuition, that little thing, I had started honing that. You know what I mean? I started being able to use the gift that God gave me of discernment. And I learned how to, if I just follow what's here, because I'm fucked up between the left and right here. And if somebody that's listening to this, if you can follow what the fuck I'm saying, you're fucked up too. Because because I bounce around. You know what I mean? This shit right here is, so I knew that's fine. My left ear and right ear, that was cool, but my guiding light was in here, and I knew that. So I was sitting in class one night one day I was in constitutional law, and this federal judge, she was the adjunct professor. She was just there for a year, and I got that feeling. Something came over me and said, "Go ask that federal judge to help you. Go tell her you have a felony warrant for your arrest, and you're really not supposed to be here." So at that time, I'm risking it all. But to me, in that feeling that I had been trusting, to me,
this was what you were supposed to be doing.
I didn't even think about it. It's like, oh, okay, God, that's what you may do? Okay. And ran my happy ass down there. And I told her, I said, listen, my name is Eugene Brooks. I have a felony warrant up. She stopped me. And she said, go on upstairs. Went upstairs. She closed the door behind herself. She reached her hand out. She said, my name is so-and-so, and I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
And as more and more as things like that started happening, the more and more I started trusting. So at this point, if I got the feeling that you run off that cliff, then jump off that cliff, I'm running to jump off that cliff. I don't need to look down first to see where that bottom's at. If the feeling is you go run and jump, nigga, go run and jump. Because, and this is also a real valuable lesson for young people. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let fear stop you. Because you will mind fuck yourself out of something. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what the future is. But as long as you keep thinking and thinking and thinking, then you're fucked. You're not going to do it. You can think yourself out of anything. And, you know, Ron, he had told me a long time ago, he said, you know, your best thinking got you here. He said, I know you think you're brilliant, but if you were so fucking brilliant, how you end up homeless, crackhead? Damn, that's what made me really think like, your thinking is fucked up. And my thinking is, you know, it could be fucked up. I mean, now not so much. I mean, because my thoughts are organized, or as organized as they can be, for me anyway. But she ended up helping me. And she found me a lawyer, and I flew out to California. And I met the lawyer. He went in and talked to the judge. And when he came out, you know, he told me, he said, this judge don't know who you are. And then, of course, fear gonna kick in, because it had been so many years since I was out of the penitentiary and living that lifestyle. And I ran across the street and I was like, God, you know, I ain't built for that shit no more like that. I said, I can't go back to no penitentiary. So I paced back and forth, and so finally I said, well, fuck it. If this is what you want me to do, let's go. Maybe there's somebody in prison that I'm supposed to help. If this is my way of paying back for all the bad shit I did, I can do that. Called the lawyer up and I told him, I said, fuck it, come on. I called some people in Miami and said, listen, I'm probably gonna go to the penitentiary, just collect my shit and have an address book in there and send that shit to my mom. And went in there, and the judge looked at me. He looked at everything I did, and he said, Mr. Brooks. And when he said Mr. Brooks, I was like, nigga, I'm good. You know? And he said, we couldn't have did a better job with you than you did with yourself. He reinstated it, dismissed it, and he cleaned my whole record. I didn't have a felony when I walked out that door.
Bless him.
Favor ain't fair.